Right now at 5, authorities confirm a death from a Joplin motorcycle crash.
And we have an alert day heading into the late evening and overnight hours for the threat of severe weather. We'll break that all down for you coming up.
Plus, what the elimination of a federal grant means for aspiring teachers in Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. It's April the 1st. It is April Fool's Day. So I've seen some things. Of course, if you're going to do those pranks and stuff, keep them within reason. None of that crazy stuff, all right?
Yeah, I know you have kids and that's like an extra additional worry that they're going to do something.
I don't tell them it's April Fool's Day. We'll be all right. Unfortunately, they're going to school today and they'll probably figure it out there. But unfortunately as well, I wish that what I've got to tell you was an April Fool's joke, but it is not. We do have a significant threat for severe weather as we head into the late evening and overnight hours. We'll very likely tomorrow morning at this time still be talking about severe weather ongoing in the area. Let's get your Tuesday started. We'll break down some details and we'll go into it a little more in depth here in a few more minutes. But first, that live look outside in downtown Pittsburgh. So right now, we're all right. It's cloudy. It's going to remain cloudy as we head through the day today, but otherwise it's going to be somewhat warmer. Hi. What's up? How you doing? That was fun how that worked. I love magic. Okay. That was our fun for the day because honestly, we're going to have to lighten up a little bit through today because tonight into tomorrow, it is going to be crunch time. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good. So we usually, with our future track for right now, I take it through about 8 o'clock. I'm going to take it a little further. We got the cloudy skies, breezy, southeast winds gusting to 35. And then we head into the evening. Here we are at 8, and this is actually updated since about half an hour ago. We talked about the potential for supercell development. That's what we've got to watch this evening between, I'd say, 8 p.m. and 11, maybe midnight, and the future track is starting to pick up on that. That's when our tornado threat would be the highest, is if we get supercell development into southeastern Kansas, and therefore we do have that enhanced risk, especially into southeast Kansas. We have an elevated risk for just about everyone else, and then again this carries into tomorrow as well with a low to enhanced risk as a line of storms will start rolling through about 24 hours from now behind those supercells. And again, I'm going to break down all of this with you, all the threats, everything like that in detail with you here in a few minutes. But we still have a Tuesday to get through. We still have a Tuesday to get into. We're slightly warmer than yesterday, 44 in Joplin, 45 in Pittsburgh. And across the region, we do already have gusts up to 20, and those winds will continue to increase. The majority of us, if not all of us, in the low to mid 40s, with the exception of Sedan as the cold spot at 39. Kids getting on the bus this morning, again, a little milder than yesterday, about the mid 40s, southeast winds gusting to 20, mostly cloudy skies. That holds on into the afternoon. About 66 when the bus brings them home. Southeast winds now gusting to 35. And that's going to be our other concern, by the way, is winds, non-thunderstorm wind gusts out there. There's a lot to break down for you, which we will, I promise. We've got temperatures into the upper 60s, right about 70, mostly cloudy, breezy. Winds increase tonight into tomorrow, and that's non-thunderstorm wind gusts. And of course, we have those thunderstorms. We're going to talk about all of that with you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. Authorities confirm a man injured in a motorcycle accident in Joplin this weekend has died. The crash happened Saturday 7th and Adele Avenue in Joplin. Authorities say a westbound motorcycle collided with an eastbound SUV that was turning north. The motorcycle operator was rushed to an area hospital but has now died. Authorities are not releasing his name or age. The driver of the SUV was also transported to an area hospital. Authorities have launched a homicide investigation following an overnight shooting in Lawrence County, Missouri. At about 11 Monday night, deputies responded to the area of Lawrence 2240 in Aurora. When they arrived, they found a man dead in the road with what appeared to be a gunshot wound. Authorities determined the suspect had fled the area. Greene County deputies found the suspect and took that person to the Lawrence County Jail. Formal charges are pending. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. Is available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app.
That's not a bad idea.
Missouri food banks say they're expecting to lose millions of dollars in donating from the USDA this year. It comes as the USDA confirms that $500 million in the Emergency Food Assistance Program food purchases have been permanently canceled. Ozarks Food Harvest in Springfield say they will lose $3 million in food from the USDA. Staff at the food bank say their network of 270 charities will be unable to fill this funding gap. The Emergency Food Assistance Program made up nearly 25% of the food the bank distributes. From President Trump's efforts to dismantle the Department of Education is already trickling down to the 4 states. A federally funded $4.2 million grant called the Teacher Quality Partnership Grant is now eliminated. The TQP grant was aimed at combating teacher shortages in rural areas. KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke with the Southwest Center for Educational Excellence in Joplin about the impact.
I spoke to 2 local educators who say losing this federally funded grant could put a lot of strain on our educational system.
I tell you that my daughter was part of the grant.
Tony Rossetti is a local superintendent who has a daughter who is currently in school to become a teacher. To help her pay for her education, she's using a TQP grant.
She was a para who is now teaching in a position and working to get her certification.
She's not the only one working on this certification. There are a lot more who are using the funding and now are completely cut off. Melissa Massey for the Southwest Center of Educational Excellence says we need teachers in our community right now.
I would urge the community to look at is whether you have children in the Seneca, the Joplin, the Webb City, the Carthage School District. That's irrelevant. We have teachers that we can't fill in those positions. So we do have a teacher shortage.
And according to Massey and Rossetti, it's not just any teacher, it's the quality also.
These people are already in education, so they know what it's like to be in the classroom.
And right now, people aren't going into the teacher profession. And by them closing the TQP grant, that shows that is not a priority.
With that said, there are ways to help.
I urge the community to contact our legislators, not because they canceled our grant, because we want quality teachers in all of our classrooms.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Macy says students who lost funding during the education process are currently working with MSSU to receive reduced tuition. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A couple of local basketball standouts are named Players of the Year. We have the details. Plus, a woman from Venezuela is set to become the first female Catholic saint from her country. And we're tracking thunderstorms for today and early tomorrow morning. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
We had some signings around the area yesterday. We're going to start at Pittsburgh High School, where a Purple Dragons signing to play college football here in the 4 states. Pittsburgh High School senior Liam Mann signs his national letter of intent yesterday afternoon to play football at Coffeyville Community College. During his 4 years, Mann was an integral part of both the Purple Dragons' offensive and defensive lines. Plans on playing defensive line once he suits up for the Red Ravens.
With the opportunities available, going the juke route with the new eligibility rules, it's a smart thing to do. You get 2 years to get stronger, bigger, faster, and it's a smart thing to do before you head to a 4-year school. So I like how open their coaches are and how easy it is to get to know them, get ready to advance to the next level.
Over the weekend, Sports in Kansas releases its all-state teams for the 2024-25 high school basketball season. Dozens of our local athletes get recognized on those lists, including 2 who are named Player of the Year for their respective classes. Colgan High School junior Jacayla Davis is named the Player of the Year for Class 2A by Sports in Kansas. Earlier this month, she helped lead the Lady Panthers to a 3rd consecutive trip to to the Final Four. Davis averaged upwards of 25 points and 4 steals per game this season and has eclipsed 1,000 career points scored. She's the second Colgan Panther to win this award in as many years after Lily Brown did so last season. Meanwhile, Galena High School senior Jack Perry is named Class 3A Boys Player of the Year by Sports in Kansas. He helped lead the Bulldogs to an undefeated season, a CNC League championship, and a trip to the Final Four. Perry averaged 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game on the year and has scored more than 1,000 points in his high school career. He shares the award with Reed Friesen from Heston and Brady Brumbaugh from Goodland. Switching gears to college basketball, we told you just about a week ago that Missouri Southern freshman Tyreek Brooks has entered the transfer portal. Over the weekend, he commits to Missouri State, which is located in his hometown of Springfield. Brooks averaged 13 points and 4 rebounds per contest for the Lions this year and started in 26 of their 28 games. This comes as his former teammate Justin Duff also leaves Southern to commit to Truman State University. Over to Milwaukee, where they celebrate the life of legendary play-by-play broadcaster Bob Yucker prior to the Brewers home opener. Royals spoil the festivities early. Top of the first, Michael Massey sends one to deep left field. That's a ground rule double, and Kansas City leads 1-0. To go to the next batter, Hunter Renfroe pulls a single down the line, and 2 more Royals will score. Chris Bubik gets the start on the mound, and he's rolling. The left-hander strikes out the side in the bottom of the first. He throws 6 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. The Royals never looked back after jumping out to that early lead. They beat the Brewers 11-1 and improve their record to 2-2 on the young season. Well, still to come, thousands of healthcare workers are bracing themselves for mass layoffs. And we do have the potential for possibly significant severe weather late this evening and into tomorrow morning, the latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:16 now on this Tuesday morning. We got a lot to discuss with you. First, our severe threat for tonight into early tomorrow morning. We have a low to elevated wind risk across the region. With the hail, it goes up to enhanced across parts of southeast Kansas, as well as significant, so 2-inch diameter hail or larger. And then, regrettably, we do have an elevated to enhanced tornado threat, and you can see those hatch marks there, which is something we don't like to see with that tornado threat. That's the possibility of tornadoes that could be EF2 strength or stronger. Here's why this and this are in that spot. Supercell development. We talked about it yesterday. Future Track was having a hard time with it, but it's a possibility. It's showing up a little better. We're going to get to that. Any supercells we get late tonight, before the main line gets through, will be the primary risk for the very large hail and the potential for those tornadoes. That's where the greatest threat will be. Now, the hail and tornado risk will continue with the line of storms, but the greater threat will be with supercells. So the one plus, if you will, is supercells are isolated. You could only get 1 or 2. Keep in mind no, let's not go down that road. Nothing to be scared about, but just keep in mind we may only see 1 supercell, but that one could still be very intense. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. Then we go into tomorrow, and the risk continues, still shifting to the east, but it does continue with a low to elevated tornado threat now in the eastern portion of our area. The enhanced hail risk with significant hail possible. That does include the city of Joplin, Lamar, just outside of Nevada, Monette, Cassville, Anderson, Neosho, Miami in that zone. And then we have the low to elevated wind risk, as we head into tomorrow as well. That's going to be associated with the line of storms that's going to roll through behind that supercell threat late this evening. So that's basically it. We're getting essentially 2 rounds of severe weather out of this activity. Now, between here and there, it's mostly cloudy, it's breezy. Southeast winds today gusting upwards of 35, temperatures warmer than where we were yesterday. Here we are, between 8 and about midnight tonight is when the better window for supercell development will be. Now, keep in mind, supercells are isolated. Future Track is simply showing it's a distinct possibility, and that's in a fairly intense cell. It does not mean that right here at that time there will be a supercell. It's showing that it is picking up on it. It's showing it's possible. And that possibility will continue again through about midnight or so, maybe a hair later. Then we get to 3 o'clock Wednesday morning. Here comes the line of storms starting to roll in. Yates Center outside of Fredonia, Chanute, back toward Burlington, outside near Sedan and Howard. That's where this line starts. Other thunderstorms are still possible ahead of this line, which we have to keep a close eye on. And we get this line, here we are by 7, now from Nevada, Fort Scott, Parsons, Coffeyville, Independence, and it will continue off to the east. So by 8 a.m., it's through Pittsburgh, approaching Joplin, into Nevada, Lamar, Miami, Veneta still, and it will continue to roll east. And even though it doesn't look as impressive right now on the future track, that severe threat will continue with this line as it rolls through. So here we are at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Severe threat still possible, if not likely, as that line finally sinks out of here by about noon, maybe 1 o'clock at the latest. So we've got a lot we have to keep an eye on over the next 24 to 36 hours. We have that severe threat. We are in severe weather season, so again, make sure your phone is charged tonight. Make sure you've got the KOAM Skywatch weather app, and make sure you've got our KOAM Plus app. That way, if you, if you lose power tonight in the storms, you can still stream us wherever you are, because we will be here. On top of that, we have wind advisories for part of the area through tomorrow morning, and overnight tonight, we could see those winds gusting upwards of 50. That's non-thunderstorm wind gusts tonight, upwards of 50, and then you'd have to tie that in with everything else. Starting our day into the upper 40s, upper 50s near 60 by 11. We're looking again at mostly cloudy skies through the day. Southeast winds gusting to 35. They pick up tonight. Temperatures this evening hit the mid-60s. They level out. Mid-70s tomorrow once we get past those storms. A little cooler heading into the weekend. More rain chances, but no severe weather expected with that activity, and the warmer temps return next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Thousands of federal health workers may have their jobs eliminated under a new directive. A report by the Associated Press says that about 82,000 federal workers in various public health agencies may be looking for job cut notices in their email. Workers have been bracing for mass dismissals since Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced 20,000 fewer health jobs would be needed and 10,000 would be cut by layoffs. Some agencies, like the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, would be folded into a new administration for a healthy America. The report says one agency, the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV/AIDS Policy, is believed to have been already cut. We know getting good sleep is essential for good health, but if you need another reason to catch more Z's, researchers says getting enough of certain sleep stages could affect your Alzheimer's risk. Researchers analyzed sleep data from over 250 people, looking at how long they spent in various sleep stages. They then compared those sleep cycles to MRI brain scans taken up to 17 years later. They found critical regions of the brain were significantly smaller in people who get less deep sleep and dream sleep. The regions affected are known to undergo early stages of Alzheimer's. Researchers say more investigation into the relationship between sleep cycles and the progression of Alzheimer's is needed to understand the link. It's a hobby that continues to gain popularity. Gardening can be fun, and experts say there's growing evidence that it's also good for physical and mental health. But working in the yard can take a toll on the body too. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to save your back while gardening.
It's time to get outside. Your backyard is blooming with possibility, and experts say gardening is good for you.
Being outdoors really helps you fight osteoporosis because it helps build vitamin D in your system. And gardening is exercise.
But Dr. Deborah Benzel with Cleveland Clinic Center for Spine Health says if you're not careful, the hobby can also wreak havoc on your back and body, especially if you are more sedentary in the winter months.
It's hard work, and just like any exercise, you have to prepare yourselves.
Before you head out to the garden, Benzel says to warm up and stretch, then take it slow. Start off in smaller intervals and don't try to do everything at once. Gradually increase time in the yard, which she says will build up your stamina, and focus on your form. Don't bend over because that can strain your neck and back.
You want to kneel, you want to sit on a chair, you want to use some kind of stool so that you're not bending over.
Finally, use good tools. Benzel says that can help enhance your ability to effectively garden and help avoid unneeded strain on the body. Afterwards, make sure you stretch.
To loosen up your back, to loosen up your shoulders, and help that recovery process begin to rebuild your body so that you can head out into the garden the next day.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Experts say to consider wearing a back brace or support if you plan on spending long periods of time working in the yard. It's important to listen to your body. If there's any sort of discomfort in the back, take a break. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a pretty decent day today, but we do have an alert day for tonight into tomorrow morning. Go over those details with you when we come.
Right now at 5:30, Freeman Health System transitions to new leadership.
And we have an alert day for late this evening into the overnight hours with severe thunderstorms looking likely. We'll go over those details with you coming up.
Plus, the Kansas State Senate approves a budget defunding state art commissions. We look at the potential impact.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday. It's April the 1st. Of course, that's April Fool's Day. So make sure, of course, you use caution with your pranks today. You don't want to go too far over the line. You don't want that visit from HR or anything like that.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of pranks in general. I love a good knock-knock joke for April Fools instead.
Well, that's not too bad. My kids like to hide and scare me when, they'll come out of different places and corners, so I'm sure I'll get more of that today. And as we discussed earlier, I do wish that our weather today was a bit of an April Fool's joke, but it is not. We have the potential for a significant severe weather event late this evening through about this time tomorrow morning. We're going to get your day started. We're going to get you out the door first for our Tuesday with a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. We have cloudy skies, and we're going to be dealing with mostly cloudy to cloudy skies all day long. That is the one thing that works in our favor. Unfortunately, it's just not working in our favor enough to reduce that severe threat later today. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. You can see it rocking back and forth a little bit. It is breezy this morning, be even windier through the afternoon, and even windier tonight. I'm talking non-thunderstorm wind gusts tonight. We do have wind advisories through early tomorrow morning for some of you out there. And again, tonight we could see those winds, non-thunderstorm winds, gusting upwards of about 50 miles an hour. So like we didn't need any additional wind. We'll have that going as well. Through the day today, southeast winds gusting to about 35. Temperatures warmer. And again, we're just looking at mostly cloudy skies. It won't be until late this evening, between I'd say about 8 p.m. and midnight, that round one of severe weather gets underway. We are looking at the possibility of supercell development across parts of southeast Kansas. And that's why there is a higher hail and tornado threat in the western portions of our area, because if we get these supercells this evening, that's when that greatest threat is going to be. But unfortunately, the threat does continue even with the line of storms. It's expected overnight tonight, which we will talk about here in just a few more minutes. So for today, we have the elevated to enhanced risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. Of course, the enhanced zone is for that larger hail and where that greater tornado risk will be through the late evening hours. And then the severe threat will persist overnight tonight into the first half of our tomorrow. So that's why we have that low to enhanced risk once again. We could have a couple of isolated storms as we head into Thursday. Thankfully, nothing significant there. But this will be through tonight into the first portion of our Wednesday. We're at 44 in Joplin right now, 43 in Pittsburgh. So we are a little warmer this morning than where we were yesterday, not by much. We've got temperatures for just about everybody into the 40s out there, low mid 40s. Sedan, you were a little colder, but you've come up to 40 to join the rest of us. So kids getting on the bus, about the mid 40s, southeast winds gusting to 20, mostly cloudy skies. Mostly cloudy when that bus brings them back home. Mid 60s and southeast winds gusting to about 35. We'll have those mostly cloudy skies. Our highs eventually reaching right about 70 degrees heading into the afternoon. It's going to be very windy tonight. It's going to be windy again tomorrow. And we have that severe threat. We'll go over all those details. We're going to break this all down for you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. The Kansas State Senate has approved a budget that defunds the Kansas Arts Commission. The KAC funds arts programs including arts-related education, local murals, and other creative projects across Kansas. Darcy Schultz, the general manager of Memorial Auditorium in Pittsburgh, says she and her brother received a grant that allowed them to commission a mural in downtown Pittsburgh, something she says wouldn't have been possible without funding. She says this potential state cut could cause programs to scale back what they do.
Limit the number of performances or productions that an organization is able to produce. It could limit the offerings. It could raise ticket prices, because now the organization is having to find ways to generate that revenue.
The Kansas State budget now moves to a conference committee. Pittsburgh High School has a new lead principal, a member of the Dragon family since joining as a math teacher in 2017. Chris Krotz, who has served as assistant principal since 2023, says he's honored to step into this role and looks forward to working with staff and students to inspire excellence. He officially takes over on July 1st, while the search for a new assistant principal begins immediately. Interested candidates can apply on the district's website. New leadership takes the reins at Freeman Health System. The symbolic transition of leadership took place yesterday between Freeman outgoing president Paula Baker and new Freeman president Matthew Fry. Fry, who was chosen as the health system's new leader in January by the board of directors, assumes leadership duties today. Before his move to Missouri, Fry served as president and chief executive officer of St. John's Hospital and St. John's Children's Hospital in Springfield, Illinois, as well as market president and CEO for the entire Central Illinois market of Hospital Sisters Health System of 6 hospitals and numerous specialist centers and clinics.
I can't pretend that I'm going to be as effective or as awesome, frankly, as Paula. But she's been doing a lot and really going above and beyond to ensure that I'm positioned for success in this new role.
Paula Baker, who announced her retirement in early 2024, has served in various roles with Freeman since 1981, including presiding over the health system for the last 13 years. Southwest Missouri farmers and community members attend a meeting about 5 new factory farms that could open in the area. The farms could have an impact on livelihoods, the environment, and animals. The community got to learn about the impacts from the socially responsible agriculture project and the group's Farms Not Factories.
You end up with just unsustainable practices and large amounts of waste, large amounts of demand on the resources in the area. And then also, you have trucks that are coming out to bring feed, to bring chicks, to pick up chickens. So you've also got that extra traffic.
A massive corporate. One estimate to how much water the farms could use, all 5 were built in, is 25 million gallons. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A SpaceX flight blasted off last night carrying a Bitcoin investor and 3 other polar explorers. Plus, Israeli officials proposed a new deal for a ceasefire. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. Pope Francis has paved the way for a woman from Venezuela to become her country's first female Catholic saint. The pontiff has authorized a decree regarding a miracle that's been attributed to the Blessed Maria Carmen Rendels, the founder of the Congregation of the Handmaids of Jesus. The Holy Father's action has set off rejoicing among the faithful in Venezuela. Rendels was born in Caracas in 1903. She overcame a physical disability and dedicated her life to education and the poor until her death in 1977. Her sainthood rests on 2 miracles: the healing of a surgeon whose paralyzed arm recovered after prayer, and the curing of a young woman with a life-threatening brain condition. The canonization itself has not yet been scheduled. A Bitcoin investor who bought a SpaceX flight for himself and 3 polar explorers blasted off Monday night. On board are Chun Wong, a Chinese-born citizen of Malta, Jean-Keek Mikkelsen, a Norwegian cinematographer, German robotist Rabia Rouge, and Australian Eric Phillips. This is the first rocket ride to carry people over the North and South Poles, a path never flown before in 64 years of human spaceflight. The crew plans to carry out 22 experiments during the flight, ranging from taking images to testing compact exercise equipment to growing oyster mushrooms and taking the first X-rays in space. This launch marks SpaceX's 3rd privately funded civilian space tourism flight. Israel's offensive on Gaza continues as attempts to move towards phase 2 of a ceasefire between the country and Hamas have largely stalled. On Monday, Israeli officials say they proposed a new deal for a truce. Rich Edson has more from Washington.
Israel is proposing a new truce in Gaza. Israeli officials say the proposal would release nearly half the remaining hostages. Officials say they believe Hamas holds 24 living hostages, including Eden Alexander, the last American. His father says he's hopeful President Trump can help bring his son home.
There is nothing political for Trump in releasing the hostages. He was on board even before he took office.
Alexander has been hesitant to blame Israel's government for his son's nearly year-and-a-half captivity. Some Israelis have protested Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The people of Israel want to bring back the hostages, and this government is leaving them in the hands of Hamas. The people of Israel want democracy, and this government is trying to create some kind of a dictatorship.
On Sunday, Netanyahu said Israel would continue negotiations with Hamas, while Israel also intensifies its military campaign.
The cabinet met and decided to increase the pressure in order to increase the crushing of Hamas and create the best conditions for the release of our hostages.
The Israeli military ordered Palestinians to relocate from Rafah Monday, warning of intense operations there.
We are dying. There is no food, no drink, no electricity, no medicine. People are being displaced. Where do we go?
Also hindering these discussions, differences between Israel and Hamas over Gaza's post-war future.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAN Morning News. Coming up on 5:45 now on this Tuesday morning. We have an alert day today for that threat of severe weather late this evening into tomorrow morning. So for tonight, this is what we're looking at. We have an elevated to enhanced tornado threat across the area. Same with that hail risk. And then we have the elevated wind risk across the area as well. Now the reason we have the enhanced hail and tornado threat is there's the possibility of supercell development across portions of southeast Kansas late this evening after 8, let's say between 8 and midnight, maybe 8 and 1 a.m. If that does take place, those supercells are going to be the primary the generators of the very large hail and that tornado threat. Now, the problem we have also is these hatch marks that you see for hail and, unfortunately, for the tornado risk area. That's the indication of significant hail. It could be 2 inches in diameter or greater, and the possibility of a strong tornado, which would be EF2 or stronger. But again, that would be the primary threat with the higher risks here is with any supercell development we might get tonight. And also keep in mind, though, supercells can be isolated. There may only be 1 or 2, but it's just that 1 or 2 is all it takes to get nasty weather out of them. Now, heading into tomorrow, the risk begins to shift to the east. We still have a low to elevated tornado threat in the eastern portions of our area. Hail, low to enhanced with those hatch marks, indicating the possibility of very large hail and a low to elevated wind risk as well. And this will be associated as the line rolls through tomorrow morning. So we're talking a severe threat that could begin as early as 8 this evening and continue through almost noon tomorrow. So you definitely want to be alert. Keep the Skywatch weather app handy. Make sure you've got a way to get those weather alerts. Keep the KOAN Plus app handy so you can stream our coverage anywhere you may be. Between here and there, breezy, warmer, and cloudier. Will be mostly cloudy today. Southeast winds gusting to 35 and temperatures going into the upper 60s, low 70s. So here we are, 8, 9 o'clock. That's what we're looking at. Now, again, remember, the future track is simply saying supercell development is looking more likely. Doesn't mean it's going to be one right there at 9 o'clock, but it's showing in that area we could see at least 1, possibly 2 supercells that could get a bit nasty. Then we have a little lull in activity until about 3 a.m., and here comes the line of storms. So here it is by 5 o'clock in the morning. Yates Center just outside of Fredonia, heading back toward Howard and Sedan. By the time we get to about 7, it's now rolled a little further east. So from Bates County back through Fort Scott, Parsons, now east of Coffeyville and Independence, and by about 8 a.m., we're now along into the north of the Will Rogers Turnpike, stretching through Pittsburgh, Nevada, eventually into Lamar and Joplin, Miami by about 9 a.m. tomorrow. By 10, here it is now from Stockton, just outside of Joplin, Neosho, back toward Grove. That's what I'm saying. Here we are at noon. Now we just have a few lingering showers, Bentonville, Cassville. That's why this is going to be a long event. It's going to be a busy night and a busy day tomorrow, and we'll all be here. The Skywatch weather team tracking this. Again, that second round of severe weather looks very likely to be ongoing during the KOAM morning news, so we'll obviously be right here with you, keeping an eye on all that. The other thing we have to contend with is non-thunderstorm wind gust. We have wind advisories for some of you through tomorrow morning, and we have the wind gust today, again out of southeast up to 35. Tonight, non-thunderstorm wind gust to 50, and tomorrow, non-thunderstorm wind gusts 45 miles an hour, so it's going to be very breezy out there as well. We're going to start in the upper 40s, eventually near 60 by 11, mostly cloudy and breezy between all of that. Eventually our highs today right about 70s, so again upper 60s, low 70s, mid 70s for us on our Wednesday, still breezy. More shower chances, cooler weather heading through the end of the week and into the weekend, but no severe weather is expected with this. Could have a rumble of thunder here or there tomorrow or Friday, but again no severe weather with those showers. It'll be a brief cool down, and then we'll turn around and start warming up again next week. But again, tonight, starting about 8, make sure you are weather ready. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A nurse at a children's hospital in Providence, Rhode Island, is taking things into his own hands when it comes to helping his young patients manage stress. Mark Giardina has combined his love of dinosaurs with his job as a pediatric nurse, and he's the reason why hundreds of kids have left smiling during what was likely a stressful situation. Sam Reed reports.
For children and families visiting Hasbro Children's Hospital, the setting is something child life specialist Mallory Kropman says might cause some concern.
A lot of kids come in immediately afraid. They have an expectation in their mind of what's going to happen.
But it's thanks to people in this place like Mike Giardina.
It's really, really awesome to work alongside someone that's done something so great for kids.
Who helps to make what could be a dark situation a little bit brighter.
Some kids are scared, some aren't. I introduced play with them in order to get an assessment or, so sort of a positive experience as they first walk through the door.
Introducing play typically requires a toy, which is why for years the pediatric nurse spends hours at home customizing and creating 3D ones.
Basically, with the dinosaurs, I'd put 10 on a build plate,
which he then brings here to the hospital and hands them out to children he treats in triage.
I like that I get to take care of people at their worst moment and kind of make some sort of difference.
He pays for the materials and costs to run his printers out of pocket. The dinosaurs are a dime a dozen.
I would say about 1,600 dinosaurs I've given out.
He switches themes up for holidays and other occasions. The staple, the dinosaur, and the difference they're making are more meaningful than Mike might realize.
It's obvious he's dedicated to what he does.
Brian Monahan of East Providence brought his son Mason to the ER after he hit his head hard on the playground. It was Mike's gift of a homemade dinosaur that made things much better. Weeks have gone by, and he still keeps it close.
It's great that he's taken it upon himself at his own expense to do this to help kids and families who just need something else to focus on during what can be sort of a stressful time.
And that is just what the doctors ordered.
The rewarding part is the fact that you get a kid to smile, and it's sort of contagious.
There are plans now to expand on the good works of Nurse Giardina. Stick around, we'll be right back. Blue and yellow combine for a wonderful return to green, the green of nature, as some rescued birds are freed in Brazil. More than a dozen blue and yellow macaws found their way to Freedom Friday. They were returned thanks to the good graces of Brazil's Obama Environmental Institute. The macaws had been rescued from mistreatment and wildlife trafficking and were rehabilitated before release, some as long as 3 years. 19 parrots and a chestnut-bellied seed finch were also part of the groups, a bird flying back to a healthy reunion with nature. Back here in the U.S., if you need help hiding Easter eggs, one beloved candy brand says it's up for the job. Brock's is offering a Easter egg hunt hiding service. The company says a team member will hide dozens of pre-filled jelly bean eggs in your yard. The service is being offered in 10 markets: Boston, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, New England, New York City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, South Carolina, and the Washington, D.C. area.
I think in some cases you might just need help affording those Easter eggs, or maybe making Easter potatoes They're in abundance. It's a little cheaper than an Easter egg. A little harder to hide. Brox, if you can help us maybe with those Easter potatoes, could certainly use that. Don't do any Easter potato or egg hiding today. We have the alert day for tonight into tomorrow morning as we're expecting strong to severe thunderstorms. Between here and there, mostly cloudy, breezy, upper 40s to start, near 60 by 11. We'll have those southeast winds during the day, gusting upwards of about 35 miles an hour. I did not change it there, but don't worry, I will. 70 is our high, mostly cloudy. Then into the overnight hours, between 8 and about midnight, maybe 1 a.m., supercell development is possible across parts of southeast Kansas. If we see any supercells at all, even if just 1 or 2, they will carry a higher tornado risk with them and a higher hail risk with them as well. So we'll want to monitor that very closely. Down to the mid-60s, and this is correct. We're looking at non-thunderstorm winds tonight, gusting out of the south upwards of 50 miles an hour. While those thunderstorms carrying into the first half of our Wednesday should be done by noon or 1, mid-70s. Few more showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder into the weekend, and cooler temperatures. That's checking your forecast. We'll be back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.